Okay, let's unpack this. We are diving into George Bernard Shaw's play, Caesar and Cleopatra.
Yeah, it's a fascinating one.
It really is. And it's not just, straightforward historical drama. Shaw uses it to explore leadership, culture, power. Really big themes.
Absolutely. He's digging into what makes these figures tick and also the clash, really, between Roman pragmatism and Egyptian ritual. Our mission here is to pull out those key insights Shaw offers.
Right. And he sets up that contract immediately, doesn't he? Especially with the military.
Straight away in Act 1, you get the Egyptian guardsmen, very aristocratic, think they're descended from gods, all about the military caste.
And then the Romans show up. And how does Belafris, the Egyptian, describe them? Common fellows.
Yeah, sons of smiths and millers and tanners, not exactly divine lineage.
And the key difference in their fighting style, according to the Egyptians.
Well, the Romans fight only to win. They have no religion about it, no ceremony. It's just efficient, brutally efficient, maybe.
Which contrasts sharply with Egyptian ways. I mean, that custom about newsbearers is incredible.
Oh, yeah. That detail is amazing. You bring good news.
You get sacrificed as a thank offering. So they send the cheapest slave they can find.
Exactly. But if you bring bad news, you're received with honor. It's completely backwards from a practical standpoint.
It really tells you something about their priorities, doesn't it? Ritual over, well, reality sometimes.
It sets the stage perfectly for Caesar's arrival.
In that first meeting, it's iconic. We shift from these big cultural clashes to just two people by the sinks. Cleopatra, she's only 16.
Terrified. She literally thinks the Romans might eat her, hiding there, calling the Sphinx her dear little kitten of the Sphinx.
Which is such a contrast to how Caesar sees it. But first, her lineage claim. Her hair.
Oh, right. Her wavy hair comes from being descended from the Nile River god. Apparently, he made her great-grandmother his seventh wife. We know typical family history.
Meanwhile, Caesar walks up to the same Sphinx.
And calls it his reality. And Rome. It's just a madman's dream. He feels utterly alone, doesn't he?
Yeah, describing himself as part brute, part woman, and part God-nothing of man in me at all. It's quite a moment of existential crisis.
But then Shaw brings it right back down to earth. Cleopatra realizes this old gentleman is the Caesar she's heard terrifying stories about.
Stories like his father being a tiger.
And his mother a burning mountain. And that he eats human flesh. Standard gossip.
And the detail about his nose. Like an elephant's trunk.
And Caesar just involuntarily rubs his nose. It's such a human touch. Brilliant.
And he doesn't just correct her myths, does he? He immediately starts shaping her.
Turns her from scared kid to queen right there. He makes her dismiss her old nurse, Fatatatita.
That chilling command. If your hand shakes, if your voice quavers, then night and death.
Talk about tough love. Or just tough leadership training.
But it works. She feels like a real queen at last.
And what's the first thing she does with her newfound power?
Threatens to beat her slave. Shaw showing his power corrupts, like instantly, taught by the master pragmatist.
And that pragmatism carries right over into Act 2, into the Egyptian court. What a setup that is.
Oh, completely dysfunctional. You've got the boy king, Ptolemy, just 10 years old, repeating his lessons.
Then Pothinus, the guardian, described as a vigorous eunuch. And Theodotus, the tutor, very pedantic.
And Caesar walks in and just cuts through all this ceremony. What's his first demand?
Money.
Yeah.
Simple as that. 1,600 talents, 40 million sesterces.
And his justification. No talk of glory, just...
Taxes are the chief business of a conqueror of the world.
It's almost like an accounting statement. Empire is business.
That Roman mindset again. We see it too with the marriage situation, right?
The royal marriage laws.
Mm-hmm.
Ptolemy and Cleopatra, brother and sister, are married. It's Egyptian law. And Caesar's British secretary, Britannus, is horrified. Not proper.
But Caesar, he just kind of shrugs it off. A foreign custom, it doesn't impede his goals, so whatever. His morality is flexible when it needs to be.
But sometimes achieving those goals has pretty steep costs. Which brings us to the Library of Alexandria.
Ah, yes. The burning of the library. A huge, controversial moment. Theodotus is heartbroken.
Calling it the memory of mankind going up in smoke.
And Caesar's response is just stark. It is better that the Egyptians should live their lives than dream them away with the help of books.
Wait, that sounds almost anti-intellectual, doesn't it? How does Shaw justify that, coming from someone as intelligent as Caesar?
Well, I think Shaw sees it as Caesar rejecting the past as a trap. The library represents dreaming, not living. Caesar says, I and build the future with its ruins. action, even destructive action, over passive reverence for the past. It's ruthless.
That ruthlessness extends to his politics, too, even when it looks like the opposite.
Yeah.
Like his clemency in Act 3.
Great. He captures that bag of letters detailing all the plots against him by Pompey's allies. A perfect excuse for a purge.
But he doesn't. He throws the whole bag into the sea. Why? It seems incredibly risky.
He says it's not about being nice, it's long-term strategy. He won't make human sacrifices to my honor. He thinks executing them wastes time and creates martyrs. Showing mercy might turn enemies into future allies. It's empire building through assimilation, really.
But his soldiers, like Rufio, they don't see it that way at all.
No. Rufio thinks it's madness. Pure military pragmatism says you eliminate threats. He basically tells Caesar, your next victory will be a bloodbath because you showed mercy now. They'll just have to fight these guys again.
It's that classic clash.
Yeah.
The soldier needing immediate solutions versus the statesman playing the long game.
Exactly.
And speaking of long games and maybe costly moves, the way Cleopatra gets back to Caesar.
Ah, the carpet trick. Delivered by Apollodorus, the artist.
Rolled up in a Persian carpet, hoisted up to the lighthouse. But it's Shaw, so there's more in the bale, isn't there?
Of course. 10 precious goblets of the thinnest Iberian crystal and 100 eggs of the sacred blue pigeon. Because why not? It just adds to the absurdity mixed with the high stakes.
Okay, let's shift to Act 4. Things get darker here. Revenge, assassination. Pothinus tries to undermine Cleopatra.
He goes to Caesar, warns him she's plotting against him, planning for his departure.
And Caesar's reaction is really telling. He's not personally offended, is he?
Not at all. He practically yawns at the idea of ambition turning on him. It's natural, he says, like the sun rising tomorrow. He doesn't resent youth wanting power. He actually lets Pothinus go free. Remarkable lack of personal grudge.
But Cleopatra, she has plenty of grudge. Pothinus insulted her.
And she learned her lesson from Caesar, perhaps too well, but in the wrong way. She immediately orders Fetatita to kill Pothinus.
And Fetatita does it. He's found dead shortly after leaving Caesar.
Which leads to Caesar's big moral denunciation. He's furious about the murder of his prisoner.
Saying murder just breeds more murder, always in the name of right and honor and peace.
Until the gods are tired of blood and create a race that can understand. He sees this cycle of vengeance, dressed up as justice, as the core problem.
But then Rufio steps in with a different perspective, defending his own killing of Fetatita after she murdered Pothinus.
Right. He calls her the tigress that killed men at bidding. And he says he killed her without malice, like a dog killing a cat. Not punishment, not revenge, just removing a threat, a natural slaying.
And Caesar accepts that.
He does. He calls it well done. Shaw draws a line here, I think. The crime, for Caesar, wasn't necessarily the killing itself, but the motive. Cleopatra ordered it out of vanity and vengeance, part of that cycle. Rufio acted out of, maybe, battlefield necessity?
It's a subtle but crucial distinction. And then Fetatita's body.
Found later on the altar of Ra, throat cut. That brutal, ritualistic element still lingers.
So as we wrap up in Act V, Caesar's preparing to leave Egypt. How does he secure his legacy there?
Through his appointments. He makes Rufio the governor.
Rufio, the son of a freedman, not some Roman noble.
Exactly. It sends a clear message. Service, loyalty, competence, that's what matters to Caesar, not your birth certificate. It's meritocracy in action.
Even Britannus, the proper Briton, admits something surprising.
Yeah, he says he only found real freedom as Caesar's slave, which tells you something about the kind of loyalty Caesar inspired completely outside traditional hierarchies.
And what happens to the boy king, Ptolemy, Cleopatra's brother husband?
Oh, him. Conveniently drowned in the Nile during the fighting. Problem solved, from a Roman perspective.
And Caesar's parting gift to Cleopatra? He knows she won't stay loyal to an old man.
He promises her someone younger, stronger, brisk and fresh. Ensures Roman influence continues, even romantically.
And that someone is?
Mark Antony, of course, setting the stage for the next act of history and tragedy.
Now, Shaw adds these notes at the end, his own commentary, and he's pretty blunt about the idea of human progress.
Oh, absolutely scathing. He calls the whole notion of progress with a capital P since Caesar's time absurd.
Why? Because human nature hasn't fundamentally changed.
Pretty much. He argues all the human types, hero, villain, poet, peasant, they exist now just like they did 2,000 years ago. We have better technology, sure, but are we morally better? Shaw says no.
And speaking of things maybe not changing or just being absurd, that historical anecdote about Cleopatra's baldness cure.
Oh, you have to mention that. Burnt domestic mice, vine rag, horse's teeth, bear's grease and honey all mixed together.
Makes you appreciate modern pharmacy, doesn't it?
Definitely. Some things, thankfully, do change.
So wrapping this deep dive up, we've seen Shaw paint this incredible portrait. Cleopatra's transformation, the clash of cultures.
And fundamentally, Caesar's unique genius. Shaw defines it not as goodness or duty in the usual sense, but as originality, that ability to judge things for himself outside of convention.
Which allowed him, as Shaw puts it, to act with entire selfishness, but still create this impression of, well, greatness and magnanimity.
It's a challenging idea that maybe real impact comes from pursuing your own nature, your own path, rather than just fulfilling expectations or doing your duty.
So if Caesar suggests true greatness lies in that kind of authenticity, in doing what you naturally want to do,
Then the question we leave you with is this. Where in your own life might you be suppressing that originality, that unique way of seeing things, just to conform to convention? It's something Shaw definitely wants us to think about.